Hi, welcome. I'm here with Shelby Caffery today. She's a graduate of Breathing Deeply Yoga Therapy School and on the way to being a CIAYT. And we're here today to talk about one of your clients you work with for depression. So thanks for being here.
Thank you so much, Brandt. Yes, I worked with a 79-year-old woman for about 21 sessions over the course of the summer. We worked together multiple times a week, 2 to 3 times a week. And interestingly enough, when she first reached out to me, she said we were going to be working together for hip pain and knee pain, it was a very big part of her progress and her growth. Once we met in person, she admitted that she kind of called me in under false pretenses.
Which is not uncommon for clients sometimes with mental health stuff.
Right.
Yeah.
And that, yes, the hip and the knee pain was a big thing. She's a big Afghan dog. No children, never married, but walking this dog in the streets of New York City was very important to her. And she
Mm.
was very worried that physically she wasn't going to be able to do it any longer because of this pain that she had. But the overriding issue that was concerning her was her mental health with depression. She has 2 PhDs and very, very active professionally. She was a social worker and an art therapist, and also very, very active on the board of her co op and in her community. She ran all kinds of clubs and organizations. And since the pandemic turned into a total recluse, didn't leave her house, was very, very upset with the state of the world in politics, and really for the first time in her life was worrying that she's going to die alone, and that our country is going downhill. She was raised in a family that is very patriotic and loves our country, and she continues to, but was very worried politically about what's happening.
And had she gotten any other help when you had met her? Had she seen a therapist? Had she tried anything else?
She saw a therapist for many years, was never willing to have any kind of medication or anything like that, but did a lot of talk therapy.
Okay. So she did talk therapy, and so she came to you. So tell us, well, let's get a sort of lay of the land. So how long did you work with her for?
We worked last summer, 21 sessions over like July and August.
Oh, so
A
several
lot.
times a week. Not
Yes.
okay. Why did you choose to see her that many times?
So another big interest of hers was learning meditation.
I see.
He's a very, very intelligent woman. And one thing she knew nothing about and was looking to bring into her life was learning meditation. So she wanted to meet with me often. And this was something she was very serious about learning. And if it could help her with her depression, even better.
Okay. So what did you help her also with her physical issues or?
Yes, we did an assessment. So she told me right away that she was not interested in any kind of asana if she had to sit on the floor, that she was not interested in sitting on the floor. So
Sure.
in the beginning, everything we did together was seated in a chair or standing. I assessed her the first time that we met, and she did have some significant range of motion issues in her ankles, her knees, her hips, even her shoulders. Specifically, her hips had very, very limited internal and external rotation.
Mm.
So we would work, seated in a chair. And then we did I taught her like a standing warrior sequence just to regulate her when we would start working together. And I taught her some breath work, some intercostal breathing, just a simple way. She admitted to me that, she was a social worker, but she never in all of her training, like really thought about her breath before.
Yeah, that makes sense. And so did she find that useful for her mood or what happened with the breath part?
Yes, she, as I said, is very smart and could see that like the physical part of it was very much necessary if she wanted to keep walking her dog, right, that was her big thing,
Right.
that she needed to move her body in other ways and to both strengthen and stretch her muscles in ways that were going to keep her standing upright for as long as possible. So she knew it was necessary, but she wanted to just sit in a chair and talk to me and meditate. That was like her
So
big.
you got her to do some other things as well. So tell us about like how it went. So what's the trajectory? So you got her to move a little, you taught her some
Mhm.
simple breath techniques.
Simple
Uh,
weeks.
and
And
then what was the rest that you taught her that I'm
well,
assuming this story ends well.
yes,
Okay.
yes. Brant, your meditation course that I took and was a part of was huge in helping me work with this client. So I was able to use the techniques that you taught as far as working in grounding and tranquility states with meditation, and then moving on to awareness and pranic activation and so forth to really she's a meditator now. Like, I still hear from her regularly. She is a meditator. We had a lot of conversations with her as her meditation skills grew. We had a lot of conversations about yoga philosophy and using different yogic tests and texts. And like a big one was she told me that she felt so separate from the consciousness of the universe at one point and where she used to feel very connected. So that led to this whole conversation around duality and non duality. And I was able to introduce her to these texts and different meditations to support that. And I just heard from her recently. She got her ears pierced. She went with friends to the mall. She got new makeup. She hosts a book club. Her family came from the Midwest over the holidays. She says she's a new person and everyone around her can see that. And the biggest takeaway in working with her, she told me, I think it was one of our last sessions, was that she feels freedom in her body, in her mind, in her spirit that she hasn't felt since she was 20 years old.
This is really interesting because we work in a lot of different ways. There's a
Mhm.
lot of things you could do for depression from the yoga therapy sort of technique kit. But I think this sort of short, like couple months, really, right? You worked in a summer kind of period, whole bunch of sessions, and her, because she was so interested, right? Her willingness to take a deep dive. At what point in working with her did you see it starting to turn around for her?
Quickly,
Like,
very, very quickly. I would say within 2 weeks of working together, there were little things, right? So where day 1, she told me she wasn't interested in sitting on the floor ever. After about 2 weeks of working together, she was like, I really do see how this, like, fear thing is all just my ego, and I really do see that, sitting on the floor might be a really good idea for me to benefit my body." So, like, 2 weeks in, we were able to get her on the floor and work some spine extension and
and I know because you're from our school, that wasn't like a main goal or anything for you like
no,
that, but
no,
it was just
no.
part of her, like, I should do things that I'm afraid of, like it's not serving me, kind of.
She was able to see that she didn't want me to see her struggle to get up and down from the floor. She found that she
Oh,
felt shame around that, like she had let herself go.
yeah. So if I was going to sum this up, you had a client come to you for some physical pain,
Mhm,
then reveals that they have pretty significant depression that they haven't
mhm.
been able to solve, and that they think that meditation might help. Like she had that in her mind from wherever.
Yeah,
And by sort of integrating some movement, breath, and a certain angle on the meditation techniques.
mhm. A big piece for her was chant. So introducing her to meditation techniques that involved chant. We started simply, so like meditation on Om. And when we first worked together, she was very embarrassed to chant out loud in front of me. And by like the second or third time, she was no restriction. So
Wow. Wow.
even just letting her own voice out and to be heard, and it took her a long way.
Amazing. Such a
Mhm.
kind of tribute to like the what's possible.
Yes.
People spend years and years and years trying to figure out this depression stuff, and to see something work in a short period of time like that, it's like amazing. That must have been an amazing person for you to work with. Someone who's, usually when people are depressed, they don't have so much motivation.
What I loved about working with her, and one of the reasons why I chose this particular client to present and share with you today, is she was able to really show me what it meant to approach healing from a place of ease and release rather than working really hard to get a specific outcome and trying to force it to happen. And because of that outlook that she had and the relationship that she and I were able to build together, it was just a very natural healing process for her. And I felt really honored to be a part of it.
Yeah, amazing. Well, I hope if people are hearing this, and are suffering in any way, I hope they'll take from this that what's possible, and B, there are so many different ways that we can work to help depression.
Mhm.
And for this client, it worked this way, which is amazing. And for another client, it might be very different because yoga therapy is like individualized. So, well, thank you for sharing this. I'm happy for her and I'm happy for you because that's a lovely thing to be able to be a part of. So thank
Thank
you
you
so
so much.
much.
Thank you.